Hello, everybody. RMJ Movie Reviews back. This time with not a movie review, but kind of some movie news. I just saw it on the internet yesterday that they were talking about that director Richard Donner, who directed films like Lethal Weapon, the original Superman, the movie, parts of Superman 2, the Goonies, Assassins, Lady Hawk, tons and tons and tons of pictures, of classic pictures. He announced that they are going forward with the Goonies II. The Goonies is one of my favorite movies from my childhood. Matter of fact, the Goonies is really, it's kind of a toss-up between the Goonies and Conan the Destroyer. Those are like my two favorite childhood movies of all time. Because when me and my mother and my sister used to live at our old house, and it was a 3-story house in Cleveland Heights, there was an attic, and our attic had carpet and stuff. And this was in the 80s and the early 90s, so we had Showtime cable network and we had the Disney Channel. And that was in the 80s and the early 90s. That's when the Disney Channel was actually a cable channel that you paid for, like HBO. Now it's basic cable, but back in the 80s it wasn't. And I'll never forget, my mother ordered the original Goonies off Viewer's Choice. That was pay-per-view in the 80s. It was called Viewer's Choice, and it would be like, dun, 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 and it had a little circle, and there was a check mark. If you guys don't believe me, look it up on YouTube, and you'll be able to find the logos on there. But she had taped that original VHS tape of the Goonies off of that channel, and I watched it in the attic, which is where we used to always watch movies at that house. It was in the attic or in the living room on the first floor. And I repeatedly watched the Goonies thousands of times, and until I lost that VHS tape. My best friend Nick, he'll see this, and this is a personal shout out to him. But when we lived around the corner from each other at that time, before I moved and his house got sold, I had actually took that VHS tape over to his house, and to which it never saw the light of day ever again. So it's probably buried in the ground in some trash compactor somewhere. But the Goonies is, and the thing that, looking at it now as an adult, it's actually a good movie. You know what I mean? It's not just, it's fun to watch it for nostalgia and think about when I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old watching it. But it really is a fun movie. Just on its own merit, it's a very good movie. I really enjoy it. About them making a sequel, I have mixed feelings about it. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but, I heard that it was going to be about the kids of the Goonies, and then they go on an adventure. And I was kind of torn on that idea, you know what I mean? Because the way I feel is if they're going to make a sequel to the Goonies, in my personal opinion, as a viewer, from someone who was a child when that film was released and when it came on videotape, I think it should be kind of more of a reunion type of movie that's made for the children of the 80s who are adults now. So I feel that, yes, they could do a Goonies too, but I feel like it should be more of kind of a Indiana Jones style actioner where it's grown adults in an adventure type situation. So it should be the actual Goonies, all the now adults, but who were kids at the time, as adults, and they go on this adventure as adults, made for all of us who are adults now, who grew up watching the picture at that time. I think that would be a better idea. I'm not too keen. Here's the thing about it. You make a sequel to the Goonies, okay, and it's going to be about the children of the Goonies going on an adventure. It's going to be Goonies 2, but here's the thing. We all know majority of the story is going to revolve around the kids, and it's called Goonies 2, so anybody who's going to see it is going to be all adults. It's going to be people who are in their 30s and who are in their 40s. And you might be able to get some people who are little kids now who are seeing it on the Family Channel and all that. The Family Channel might be the only television station that airs it now. I don't know if like all those basic channels shows it anymore, but the Family Channel is the only one I've seen it on lately. And I mean, they might see it too, but it's just not gonna. It's not gonna click with them, because when they see the older Goonies in the movie, they're not gonna even realize they're still, because a lot of these kids who are seeing the Goonies now don't even realize that we're talking about a film that's almost 25 plus years old. We're talking about a movie that's almost 30 years old now. So, in my opinion, I think if they make a Goonies 2, the Goonies 2 should be specifically made for people who are my age, who are 30s to 40s, because we're the ones who were little kids and teenagers when it came out. And I think it's so late in the game to make a sequel, and everything has changed so much in the filmmaking game. And movies are made differently now. You know what I mean? In that first Goonies and Monster Squad and Gremlins and all those kind of movies, kids talk profane. And some of the language they use in the first Goonies is absolutely hysterical. I don't know if a major movie studio would even have the balls to even go with some of the language that the kids used back then. So that's part of my problem. Part of my problem is the generational gap. The kids of now will be like, Goonies 2, what's that? Or they'll say, yeah, Goonies 2, but then when they see the movie, everything's not going to register because they don't realize that this is a movie that's 25 plus years old. The technology is different. And then when people who are my age and up, who grew up with it, go see it, we're going to be like, at least for my age group, you're going to have to come up with a movie that's entertaining enough that I'm going to be able to forget that the grown-up Goonies are not partaking in the adventure. So, I don't know. I mean, for me, it's kind of like, who is this movie made for? Is this movie made for, the adults of my age who grew up watching it? Or is it made for the new kids now? Because nobody... I don't realistically see how they could give enough screen time to the new Goonies and then give enough screen time to the old Goonies. So in my opinion, I think this movie should be totally pre-packaged for the 30s and up crowd, because the Goonies has enough of a cult following that I think it could make millions of dollars if you just took the original Goonies and took them on an adventure as adults. And, and kind of make it within that Indiana Jones kind of style of like, semi-violent adult, or what's that little movie that Harrison Ford made with Anne Heche, 7 Days, 7 Nights, I think was what it was called. Kind of in that vein. I think you could, or even, oh God, people please forgive me, but I'm going to use the example of Fool's Gold with Matthew McConaughey and, I'm sorry, Goldie Hawn's daughter, Kate Hudson, I think. Or Romancing the Stone, you know what I mean? Where you kind of have that kind of adult comedy with the violent adventure, but not too violent. I think they should go that route. I think they should specifically market this for people who are my age, who were little kids in the 80s, and people who were teenagers in the 80s. So that'd be the 30s and 40s crowd. I think they should go that route. I don't think they should bring in a new group of little kid Goonies. Yes, the kids who are watching it now on DVD and Family Channel reruns and all that stuff, yes, they're going to say, oh, I love the Goonies, but it doesn't quite... these kids have cell phones and they got texting and they got this and they got that. It's not... The technology and the way the Goonies is made, the original film, I love it, but it's primitive to this new generation, so I don't think it's going to relate the same way as if you make the film completely for people my age and up. That's the route I think they should go. My second red flag is that Richard Donner is not going to direct it. Regardless of... I can't remember that movie Richard Donner made with Paul Walker. I don't know, Time Machine. I can't remember. It came out a couple years ago, but regardless of kind of those misfires, and some of the stuff that happened with Lethal Weapon 4. I still do think the man is a very talented director, and he's good at what he does. I don't know. I mean, a part of me really wants to see a Goonies 2, but the flip side of it is that if it's gonna be made with new little kid Goonies and the older Goonies, the original Goonies, are just gonna be side characters, then I don't want to be bothered with it. I mean, I'll go check it out on a whim, like if my nieces or nephews or something want to go see it. But I really think that it should be pre-packaged, completely made for the children and teenagers of the 80s. That's my opinion. I'm torn. I think I don't know how they're gonna do it, and especially if you get a new director. You're gonna have a bunch of different entities going. You know what I mean? You're gonna have studios saying you should update it, and then it I don't know. It sounds to me like it could be a potential mess. I think they should just stick with making an adult adventure for us who grew up on the original Goonies with the original cast of the Goonies. That's what I think they should do. If not, I don't think it should be made. Because if it's not made for us who grew up watching it, we're going to be disappointed. If you make it for the kids of now, yeah, they're going to say, oh, Goonies 2, but I don't think it's going to register with them the same way it registers with us. I just don't think it will. So those are my opinions on the Goonies 2. I don't know. You guys, please subscribe to my channel and put some comments on my page. Let's talk about movies as we can talk back and forth. Yeah, those are my opinions on Goonies 2. So I'll talk to you guys later. RMJ Movie Reviews. Thank you very much.